Mad World, a game for the hardcore elite. Every hardcore Wii owner has been anxiously awaiting Mad World's release. Well, not everybody. But for those interested in a hardcore beat 'em up, Mad World does not disappoint.
Mad World.
I just grew chest hair. The story of Mad World is not complicated to follow. You play as Jack Kamen, an ex-Marine in his early 40s who comes into Deathwatch with his own motives. Before the game begins, he picks up sponsor number 13, who will help Jack by supplying him with weapons. The Deathwatch competition begins when a terrorist organization blah begins to kill one person in order to receive the vaccine. The only indication of when this game takes place is that this doctor was born in 1993. So 5 years when starting school, plus 13 including kindergarten, plus another 12 in order to receive a doctorate by American standards, and the total comes to at least 2023. So yeah, the story of Mad World is not complicated to follow, at first. The controls are very pick up and play. There's a bit of waggling, especially in power struggles. It falls somewhere between Wii boxing and masturbation. I mean, not that I would know. A wise man once said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That said, Mad World is artistically beautiful. The way the red blood accents the high contrast black and white puts No More Heroes to shame. I really don't understand what people have against Mad World's lack of color. It's much better than the brown fest that is GTA 4, Killzone 2, Gears of War, and Far Cry 2. So to repeat what I said, beauty is in the eye of the holy shit, those are huge tits. Violence is easily the most obvious thing about this game. It makes Gears of War look like Hello Kitty. It makes Mortal Kombat look like Barbie. It makes the mass genocide of an entire ethnic group look like a day at the park. Ever wanted to impale a man on a giant rusty spike ass first? How about chainsawing a guy in half while he's taking a dump? Only in Mad World. It's all up to your imagination. I promised myself I would make this review about 4 minutes long, so I'm going to go ahead and hurry up with this. Now, one of Mad World's appeals is comedy, and the Black Baron definitely delivers. He's a stereotypical pimp whose jokes never wear down on him.
Hell yeah, pimps and players! The Black Baron is here to learn y'all a little something in the methods of mayhem. All you got to do to turn some motherfucker out is toss his punk ass in front of the train and watch it get reamed at 120 miles per hour, which is incidentally only about half as fast as I do my reaming. Ain't that right, baby? Yeah, come on, get behind daddy, show him a little something now!
I believe I've accomplished a lot in this review. Mad World deserves a clear recommendation. And it's pretty obvious that if you don't buy this game, you don't deserve to call yourself a man. Lord help me if I ever find a hot girl who likes Mad World.
I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you,
Yeah, baby.
I got
I'll stimulate your economy.
Thank you, Mr. Assailant. And now that the introductions are out of the way, I can't wait to get a big juicy bite of this bloody burger.
all around me are familiar faces.
Ha! See what I did there? Mad World's gameplay is most similar to No More Heroes in that you run around a level cutting open human-sized bags of pig's blood. Jack doesn't wield a lightsaber from Singapore, instead the next best thing, which is a chainsaw in a fashion similar to Ash Williams. The bags of pig's blood are infinitely spawning, so your focus is for you to execute them in the most over-the-top way possible, and for you to snicker like a 9-year-old. This all leads up to boss fights, which would remind me of God of War, well that is if I ever played it, but somehow my strategy always boiled down to a chainsaw blade to the nutsack. Graphically, I think the game looks great. It is very detailed, and I like the style. But what I don't quite understand is why people only see 2 explanations for the black and white. The first being to highlight the gore, and the second further proof that the Wii is inferior. I just thought they were trying to make it look like a graphic novel. Remember that? The controls can easily descend into a waggle fest, and only occasionally do you get a glimpse at the killing simulator that Manhunt 2 should have been. Boss fights are where things really fall flat. The window to make a devastating attack is so sparse and short that I was always guaranteed a couple of deaths. And whenever I lost all my lives, I wasn't really angry, I was just extremely motivated to stop playing and look at something else. The sound in Mad World is so awesome it has problems, but lest we not forget how awesome it is, if that makes any sense. First you have the sounds of Jack and him killing everybody. Awesome! Then there are the commentators who provide an F-bomb filled good time. There are two of them, and they are Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War.
What was that all about?
You got it!
What?
Bring it!
And Bede from Star Wars Episode 1.
Skywalker's spinning out of control!
And then there's the soundtrack, which was made for Mad World. There's nothing better than urban music that applies to your current situation. Throw that drum set. Throw that drum set. Throw that drum set. Break it down now. It's impossible to listen to all three, so before long you're to find yourself turning down two of the sound components. I must say that the multiplayer is a bit lacking, but perhaps I was doing it wrong. All in all, Mad World is a fun game that deserves at least one go-through. Alright, I believe it's Ivy Fryer's turn. Bitches ain't nothing but hoes and tricks.
You probably heard how awesome Mad World is from the last two gentlemen, but I'm going to be a rebel and just straight up tell you my problems with it. First off, the camera. This swinging heifer f***s you over whenever you're ganged up by every damn enemy on the screen. Also, the lock-on system is completely broken, but thankfully it isn't necessary. Secondly, it's short. I mean, really short. I finished this game in little under 4 hours. Of course, the counter doesn't count time spent in cutscenes or how many times you die. And what would a short game be without repetition? You'll have a strange feeling of deja vu when playing Mad World. Each level has the same objects lying around, but with just a new skin.
I can't decide whether that's really cool or really perverse.
There usually is only one special weapon in each world. One of my biggest disappointments with Mad World is the boss fights. You just run around the enemy and whack them with a chainsaw. No strategy whatsoever. My biggest beef with Mad World is this. Each level has a time limit of 30 minutes. At the end of each level is the aforementioned boss fight. Let's say you die. You get kicked back out to the level select screen, and you have to start from the beginning of the level. This does nothing but highlight the repetitious nature of the game, as you'll find yourself doing the same executions again and again just to get another chance at that boss fight. At this point, it starts to feel like a chore to play Mad World, and on hard difficulty, this only escalates the frustration level I have that is on par with hardcore gamers. That's right, I'm talking about those shut-in elitist gamers who have a constant need for great color palettes and gore, when in reality, they're a bunch of immature, insecure man-children.
I think it's supposed to be ironic.
These guys represent everything that's wrong with the gaming industry with their constant labeling of core and casual. Whatever happened to playing games just cause they're games? When did this whole video games are serious business bullshit start? Well, here's a newsflash to all hardcore gamers in the world. Video games are toys. When you play a video game, in actuality, you're playing with a toy. You're arguing about a toy. No matter how adult the toy may be, it's still a toy. So get off your damn high horse and play games what they're meant for. Having fun. This is what Mad World is. A lot of fun. Forget all the flaws I just stated about the game, because in the end, all video games are flawed, and it all boils down to the opinion of the individual. Do yourselves a favor and forget about stupid review scores and everything else. Just remember that you're playing with a game. Mad World is a great game that everyone with a Wii has to own. Thanks to everyone for listening, and be sure to visit HearMe.com so you can listen to an awesome podcast starring Storm, the Assailant, and the rest of the crew. See ya!